Hello friends, welcome to class. Today I'm going to make a tutorial video on how to draft a shoulder princess bustier. So stay tuned, get your pen and paper because it's going to be a well-detailed video. So let's go right into the tutorial of today. So the first thing I'm going to do is you mark the shoulder. Now the client I'm working with, the shoulder measurement of my client is 14. So I'm going to mark 7 right here. I hope you can see what I'm doing. I'm marking 7. Now the neck width of my client, I'm using 3 for this tutorial. 3 by 3. 3 is a standard measurement, but you can always alternate it to whatever you want. So 3 by 3. So I'm going to draw the neck. Hope you can see this. That's 3 by 3. So the next thing we are going to be doing now is to input our nipple to nipple. That is, you can call it bust band or nipple to nipple. Now on the chest line, we put nipple to nipple here, here, and here. So the nipple to nipple, that's my bust band is 4 here. You put 3.5 here, and this is the half length, so you put 3.5. Now still put 3.5 here because this is the seam allowance, so I'll just bring it down here. So I'll just put 3.5. But the seam allowance, let me reduce the size of our seam allowance so that it will not be too big. So I reduce the size of our seam allowance. So if you are joining us for the first time, let me explain. This is our chest line, this is our nipple point, this is our underbust, and this is our half length. Please don't forget. Any question you have, drop in the comment section. And also, please, if you have not liked, please don't forget to like if you find value in this video. Don't forget to give me a follow, and also don't forget to share with your friends and loved ones. Now let's go back to the tutorial of today. So after marking this, I'm going to connect. Like I said, let me mark this here to 3.5. Then I'll connect all the points together. Connect all the points together. Connect all the points together. Now don't forget that what we had here was 7 inches. Then I removed 3 inches for the neck width. So the next thing I'm going to do is to get the midpoint of this shoulder. That's after minusing the 3 inches we used. I'm going to get the midpoint of what was remaining, and it's going to be the remaining out of 7 inches. If you minus 3, what you have left is 4. So the midpoint of this 4 is 2 inches. So I'm going to connect it to the bust points. I hope you can see what I'm doing. If you don't understand, please don't forget to ask questions. So now, after doing this, the next thing that we are going to do now is to contour the underbust. Now, contouring the underbust, I'm going to use 2.5 from the seam allowance. 2 inches, sorry, 2 inches, not 2.5, 2 inches from the seam allowance, the half length, and to the underbust. Then I'll give it a straight line. I hope you understand. Give it a straight line, like so. Now the next thing we are going to be doing is to connect this to our nipple points. Connect this to our nipple points. Connect it to our nipple points. Okay, I hope you can see that. Now the next thing we are going to be doing here, is to come out by 2.5. You can use 2, you can use 2.5, but for me I am using 2.5 because it works perfectly well for me. So I'm using 2.5. Then I'll connect it back to this nipple point. So you can blend it. As you're drawing that, you just give it a blend. And use your hand to blend this, so it will not be too sharp. Just blend it. I hope you can see this very well. So now after doing this, the next thing we are going to be doing is to input our shoulder measurement back. Now inputting our shoulder measurement back, you have to measure this. Initially our shoulder measurement was 7. Now minus this 2.5, so we have to add the 2.5. So this is the 7 mark. This is where the 7 mark is, and we have to put this 2.5 that we minus here. I hope you can see what I'm doing. This is the 2.5 that we minus here. So this will be our new shoulder. Now you can add 1 inch for seam allowance. If you don't maybe want to add allowance to the main fabric, you can just add your allowance to this pattern paper and now just copy it when you take it to your fabric. So this is what I'm doing. I hope you can see. Then I'll come down by 1 inch and slope it back to this point. I hope you can see what I'm doing. Please, if you don't understand, drop in the comment section. I'll answer you. Sorry, I have to turn my paper so that I can connect it back. And also, please don't forget that this might be different from what you know. Knowledge is about learning, unlearning, and also relearning what something else, something different. A lot of fashion designers can teach you something different, and you see another person teaching you something, you will be like, this is not what I have been using, this is what I know. Yes, this is what works for me. Whatever you see me teach you in my channel, it is what has been working for me. That's why I decided to bring it to each and everyone out there, mostly to my fashion beginners, so that they will also know how to do these things, because these are the challenges a lot of people face. So now the next thing we are going to be doing is to input our bust measurement. Now the bust measurement here is on the chest line. So now my clients that I'm working with, our bust measurement is 36. So 36 divided by 4 is 9. Now you can decide to add 1 inch, you can decide to add half, but me, most times it is better the allowance is big, you cut it off when you are done, than for the allowance to be small and you don't have what is left for you to, maybe in case of any alternation on your client's dress, maybe the dress did not fit well and it needs allowance. Because like, you know, there are some of our clients that they add up maybe by day, they can come for measurement today and the next thing they add up the next day. So in case you're having that kind of issue, that is why I am adding 2.5 inches allowance. So I hope you can see what I'm doing. Now right here, you notice that we took 2 inches out. You took 2 inches out here. So we are going to replace that 2 inches. So what we'll do first is, my client's waist measurement here is 28. I hope you can see it's 28. 28 divided by 4 is 7 inches. So now I'm going to replace these 2 inches back, like so, and I can decide to add 1 inches allowance or 2 inches allowance depending on what I want. But for me here, I will just add 1.5 inches allowance. So I'll have to connect it like so. I hope you can see. So now I'm also going to connect this armhole to this. Sorry, I have to confirm where I marked so that I will know where to connect. I don't want to make mistake. In fashion, there is nothing like I do know. So when you are doing, please ensure you confirm. So you have to curve this well, blend it well. I hope you can see that. Now another thing I want you to take notes of is sometimes whenever you finish drafting a pattern like this, you observe that this place looks too sharp. Now I like eliminating that, because most times when you don't eliminate it, it might give you issue when you are sewing. So please, you can come down by 2.5 and also give it a curve so that you not have issue when joining your garment. I hope you can see what I'm doing here. So now the next thing I'm going to be doing is the back panel. So the back panel, I'm going to be fast so that I'll be able to meet up, so that my video will not be too long, so I'll be able to post it. So for the back part, the same thing. I'm using the shoulder I'll use 3 by 1.5. Let me not go too down. 3 by 1.5, like so. I hope you can see what I'm doing. Sorry, I have to bring this down so that my ruler can fit in. So connect this to that. I hope you can see. So the next thing is our shoulder measurement. Like I said, our shoulder is 14, which is 7. Shoulder is divided by 2, which is 7. I'm adding 1 inch allowance, which I can always trim it out when I'm done with my sewing. I'll trim it out to the exact measurement that I want. Okay, sorry, I need to come down by 1 also before sloping. Now the reason why we always come down by 1, in case you don't understand, is because our shoulder is not straight. When you look at your shoulder in the mirror, you notice that there is a slope, as if you are standing on a hill and you're trying to slope down. So there is a slope on our shoulder, so we don't just look straight. Our God took time to create us, so we have a slope on our shoulder. That's why we have a perfect look. You know, women have a perfect shape. So next thing we are going to do is the chest line. The same thing. The bust point here is the bust measurement, that's bust circumference is 36 plus 2.5. Like I said, I like adding allowance to my clothes, please. Now on the half length, I will also do the same. Let me just take it on the allowance, seam allowance. The waist of my client is 28. Like I said, 28 divided by 4 is 7 plus 2 inches allowance. So sorry, before I add that, let me input my that so that we will not be confused. Now the bust span of my client here is 4 inches. That is 8 divided by 2 is 4. So whenever you're making a dart, make sure you come down by 1 inches from the chest line. The chest line is 9, so I'm coming down by 1. So I will now draw it, take the dart leg up, which is like I said, the bust span is 8 divided by 2 is 4. So I'll draw a straight line. I hope you can see this. So the next thing you're going to do is take your dart. Don't forget, your darts can be 0.75. It can also be half on both sides. So okay, let's assume I want to take 0.75. Now this is 0.75 in case you have issue with your tape. This is half and this is 0.75. So I'm doing 0.75 both ways. 0.75 here. Then I'll connect it back to these points. I hope you can see what I'm doing. Connect it. You can use half inch. It does not mean that when you use half inch it's not good. You can use half inch for both sides. But I'm using 0.5. I hope you can see that. So now we have to go back to the measurement of our waist. The measurement of our waist, like I said, was 7. That's 28 divided by 4 is 7, which is here. Now if you look at this, I end up taking 1.5 for the dart. So I have to replace that 1.5 here. And also you have to add allowance, seam allowance. You can decide to add 2.5, you can decide to add 2, but for me I'm adding 2 here. So I'll connect. I hope you can see this is already looking beautiful. Now let me share this place so that you know that this place is where we are going to cut out. This place is where we are going to cut out. So now I have to connect our armhole. Now before connecting our armhole, there is something I want you to understand. There's something I want you to understand is bring this measurement down. These 8 inches. Bring it down to this point. As a guide, when you bring it down, you drew a straight line. Now, look for the midpoint of this. 8 divided by 2 is 4. This is the midpoint. Come in by half for the back. Now if you are doing this type of thing for the front, make sure you come in by 0.75 or 1, depending on your preference. Everybody knows what works for them. So I will now connect these points to this point, and then connect these points to these points here. I hope you can see what I am doing. I can decide to use my hand to blend. Just blend it. I hope you are seeing how beautiful it looks. This is beautiful. Please don't forget, if you have any question to ask, don't forget to ask me, or don't forget to drop it in the comment section. I'll do well to answer you. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to cut this piece so that you see how it's going to look. Please show me your love by dropping your comment. Show me your love by dropping like on this video, and also follow me and share with your friends. So let's go into cutting this pattern so that we see how it looks. Video everything, but before a video, let me. So are you ready?
I got it done.
So like I said, this is how to cut it. I already added my allowance, so there was no need to come and add another allowance. So this one is just to copy direct on your fabric. This is if you want to do a freehand. This works for freehand perfectly well. You don't need to. I added enough allowance. I hope you are seeing what I'm doing. This piece is so beautiful. I hope you are seeing. Make sure you know where you are cutting. Please don't cut where you are not supposed to cut, and cut also carefully. Cut carefully. There are so many patterns, there are so many ways of cutting princess bustier. So many ways. 1,001 ways. Thousands. When I mean thousands. But whatever you know that you have been using that works for you, you can use it, and you can also try. And my beloved fashion designers, fashion beginners, one thing you need to know that you need to do is that you have to practice. Practice. That's what makes fashion designing perfect. Because if you don't practice, you just get stuck to what you know 20 years ago. And it might surprise you to know that the trend is moving and you are left behind because you failed to practice. So please don't get stuck in one thing you know. Unlearn to relearn, and also go for upgrade. Please, if you know a place that will give you value, go for upgrade. It is very, very important. I hope you can see this. It will be very, very important. So this is our piece. Look at how beautiful it is. Let me remove all this mess out. I hope you can see how beautiful it is. See our piece looking very, very beautiful. I hope you can see this looking very, very beautiful. See our beautiful design. Please don't forget to drop your question in the comment section. I love you all. See you in my next video. It's a favorite girl, Blessing Udochi Emerald. Bye.